everybody, welcome back to the Claremont Classic Garage. We've finished our 1948 Ford 8N parts tractor, and we've had it out running around the yard and that, and a few little issues have popped up, so now we're going to do some warranty work on it. 75 years old and we're doing warranty work on it. Well, I made it, so I'm in charge of the warranty work. Hi everybody, welcome back to the Claremont Classic Garage. We've got our 1948 Ford 8N parts tractor back amongst the living, and we've had it out doing some sea trials with it, and a few little issues have popped up. So we're going to deal with them now. Let's call it 1948 Ford 8N warranty work. Warranty work on 80-year-old tractors. What in the world could that mean? Well, I'm the guy that made it, and I'm the guy that either put in a tube that leaked or pinched it when I put it together. So the first thing we got to do today is take this wheel back off. My experiment of doing it on the tractor, I don't know, I found that awkward. Maybe because it's kind of confined in here, I'm not sure. But I just do much better doing them on the floor. So we're going to pull this wheel off, get it over there on the floor, and we'll get the tube out of it and see if we can figure out what's going on with it. The wheel is off, so I've removed the valve core and the retaining nut, so the tube is free. You can see we can just push that in there. And now we'll get this thing on the floor and break the beads. So here's what I like to see. Because we got the wheel all cleaned up and put a coat of paint on it and made sure everything was nice and slick, look. The bead is not stuck on. I could just break it with my heel. Next thing I do is get the rim, not the tire, the rim sitting on a piece of 6x6 so you can push the tire down, because you have to get the tire off of the 28-inch part of the rim down here onto the 26-inch part of the rim. That's what gives you your space to pop it off on the other side. So I just push it down and stick a piece of 2x4 or 2x3 or something in there to hold it just while we get the tire started off on the other side. Then we get our tire iron in there and just pop it up over the bead of the rim. And then you just work your way around. I wish I had a second one of these, but I don't. So I use these. You just got to be careful you don't grab the tube when you're using these, because these things will, well, do a number on it. Well, that was my Thursday morning workout. Once you've got the bead popped off, you sit both sides of the tire on a 6x6. That lifts it up so we can get in there and get the tube out. And there it is, right there. It doesn't even look like I caught it with a bar or something. This looks like literally like kind of a little dry rotted spot or something. Anyway, we can fix it. First thing we're going to do is clean and rough up the area around our repair, which we've done. Then we're going to select a patch. I've got a nice big one to go on here. And we're going to put our rubber cement on and let it set up. You just put some on like that and smear it around with your finger. Make sure you get to the outer limit of where the patch is going to go. Then, once that's dry, we'll peel the patch off its backing and stick it on. Who remembers the old vulcanizing ones you used to get for bicycles? They were neat. You put the patch on, you had a little clamp that went against it, and then there was this like gunpowder stuff you put in there and lit it on fire. There was no rubber cement or adhesive of any kind. It vulcanized the rubber together. Those things were really cool. I remember them when I was a kid. And there we go. So what we're going to do now is I'm going to see what pressure I've got in this tube, and we'll check it again in a little while. and make sure it hasn't dropped any. I realized what I screwed up now trying to fix this thing. These Ford tractors, the valve stem is on the back side of the rim. So when I took this off, I should have laid it face down and took off the back side of it, which I did not. Anyway, I've got this side off now, so that's the way we're going to do it. It's just a little bit more of a struggle. But I've got my thing hooked up to the valve stem, so we're all good. I did take the center out so I can get in here and work on it a little more easily. So now I'm going to go and stuff the tube in the tire, and we'll go from there. Now as we work our way around, we should be just about there, right? Now when you get to this last little spot, it's just as easy to grab a hammer and work it over the there we go. So now, the moment of truth, we'll stand it up and put some air in it and see what happens. Well, we've got it inflated to 15 psi. The bead's seated nicely. I don't hear any air coming out of it. So I'm going to put the center back in it, and we'll check the air pressure again in a few minutes and see how it looks. It's been sitting here for a bit. We got the center put in and tightened all the bolts, and it's still holding the pressure. So we're good. I just put a valve stem cap on it, and we can roll it over and put it back on the tractor. Well, it's all back together, torqued the lug nuts. Deb gave the rim a fast coat of paint because we banged up the paint a little bit, putting the tire on and off, but that's it. Warranty work complete. No charge to the customer, me, and this one can go back in service. Well, that's it. We're just kind of taking it for a little spin around the field here. And then when I come back, I'm going to hook up a trailer to it and make sure it'll pull a trailer. You can hear it now. It's going up this hill and the engine can take it. It just kind of leans into it and off we go. So I'd say we got a winner here. Oh, we've got this big trailer full of scrap metal here. And it pulled it out of the ruts that was in, and it's pulling it around the yard, no worries. So that's a good sign. Here we'll start off in second gear, and we're kind of going up a hill. That's good. Let's see if it'll pull it in third. Yeah, no worries at all. Good, she got lots of power. Oil pressure is reasonable. It's not even really at full speed. Oh yeah, that's good. Perfect. This is a good 8N. Well, I was pretty happy yesterday when I got the tire fixed and we were driving it all around in the yard, and Deb took it out for a drive and everything was hunky-dory. Well, I come out this morning and go to start it. Nothing. Dead. It winds over and it won't fire. So as I was winding it over, I said, hey, this thing sounds like it's got no compression. So anyway, first thing I did was I went and I grabbed my spark tester and I stuck it on here and turned it over and confirmed that I do have spark. Bop, 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 bop. So we know the crankshaft, the camshaft, the distributor, all that is turning like it is supposed to. It's not really easy for these to jump timing because they don't have a chain. It's just gear to gear. The original ones had a fiber gear, and yes, those caused problems, but this one's already been upgraded. It's got the aluminum gear on the camshaft, so that wasn't the problem. Anyway, here's what I found out. All 4 intake valves are stuck, and I'll show you what happened. And it's completely my fault on top of that. You'll see here this dark amber color. That's varnish. I was pretty sure that this tank was empty, like empty. but apparently it wasn't. And what will happen is this varnish gets down in there and it sticks the intake valves. And that's exactly what's happened to this. So how we're going to fix it, first things first, we got to get all the fuel out of this. And well, that's why I put a drain valve in the bottom of the carburetor. We're just going to open this all the way out onto reserve and put a drain pan under it and open the valve underneath the carburetor, and we'll get rid of this bad gas. The fuel is flowing out nicely. It really doesn't smell too good. And please do me a favor, if you're doing this at home, connect your vessel and your tractor with a jumper wire. It just stops any static charges that may be kicking around. You don't want anything bad happening. What we're going to do now is turn it over a bit, because what I have noticed is that while the tractor was sitting, slowly these intake valves have come back down. So I'm just going to kind of work it, wind it over a bit, and keep spraying PB Blaster on the valve stems and hope we can get them freed up without having to take the head off. See, that one stayed up and that one stayed up. But when I come back later, they're down. See, they're slowly coming down. Look. That's a good sign. We'll get them freed up. Well, we're gaining on it. So we've got the intake valves in number 1 and number 2 working again. Now we got to work on 3 and 4. And you can see number 3 is starting to return a tiny bit. So we'll just keep spraying stuff in there and eventually we'll get it. See, I let them sit for a minute and they came back down all on their own. It'll take a minute, but we'll get them. So here we go now. We've got all 4 cylinders back working. That's good. So we'll grab some new gaskets and put it all back together. Okay, so what we're going to do now, I've got it all back together. I put the antifreeze back in it. We had to take the antifreeze out because when I took the manifold off, this stud decided to come out and there's antifreeze in there. So that's fine. Put the antifreeze back in. The gas is still kind of dark and it doesn't smell all that great, but it's a lot better than it was. So what we're going to do now is see if we can get this thing cranked up and see what happens. Let's see what happens. We'll have better luck than we did this morning. Ignition on. Choke. Oh, that's the lights. That's the choke. Take it out now and let it run a little bit. We got her all fixed up now. Wasn't bad. From the diagnosis of stuck valves till it's up and running again, 1 hour and 50 minutes. That's why I love these tractors. It's not because I'm some kind of super genius that I fixed this in less than 2 hours. It's because they're so easy to work on. Thank you, Henry. let's see what happens this morning. I left her sit overnight, and that's when the problem started before. I started and stopped it many times on the first day that it was up and running with no issue. It was when it set overnight that I guess the varnish set up on the valve stems and stuck them all. So she's been sitting all night. She's stone cold. We're going to see now what happens. After our fiasco with the varnish sticking the valves in this thing, I decided that maybe it's a good idea, even though we had it running and everything again, to just drain all the gas out of it and kind of see if we could clean out the gas tank a little bit and make sure nobody, including us, is ever going to have any more trouble with this thing. So I did that. I drained all the gas out of it, and I said, I better check the screen on this thing. Well, remember we fixed this up and epoxied the screen to it? I guess the epoxy is not gasoline proof, because when I took it off, the screen was gone. So I've ordered a new one of these. And what I've done was temporarily, I've screwed this valve into where this goes. And I've got the gas tank full of cleaning vinegar. And every couple of hours, I put some gas. I'll show you what I've got here. I've got it hooked up running on a temporary fuel supply. So every couple of hours, I just put some gas in there and run it back and forth and turn it a little bit just to jiggle up that vinegar. And I can see it's starting to discolor in that. So it's cleaning all the crap out of the gas tank. And then when we're done with that, we'll flush it all out and start back with clean, fresh gas, and we should be A-okay. Our new fuel valve came, and we've got the tank all cleaned out. I left it sit for 2 days with 4 gallons of cleaning vinegar in it, and that did absolutely nothing. So I went straight to the good stuff. I got a gallon of muriatic acid. I mixed that 50-50 with water, put it in. I left it in for an hour. I drove the tractor around a little bit on my remote fuel supply to kind of jostle it around a little bit. And the inside of that tank now is as clean as a whistle. So that's my lesson. If you're going to do this yourself, be very careful with muriatic acid. It is nasty stuff. Goggles, gloves, read up on the safety precautions. Don't hurt yourself, because a new gas tank is cheap. It's $100. If I'd have figured this out before I put it all together, I just would have put a new tank in it. It ended up costing me the same. Anyway, so here is our little fuel valve. Now this thing comes, it's got 2 outlets and it's got a plug. If you're working on a Ford like this, you put the plug there. If you're working on a Ferguson, you put the plug there. We've put some Teflon around here. Now we can put it up into the tank. Here's some Gasline antifreeze, otherwise known as methyl hydrate. So we're going to dump that in there, so any little drops of water that are still left in the tank, because after the acid we flushed it out a couple of times with water. This will absorb the water and mix it into the gas and let it just go through the system without making the engine quit. So this is all good now. We've got nice clear fuel running into the sediment bowl. It's not leaving a bunch of junk in here. I was driving it around and I had to empty it several times because there was lots of little particles and silt accumulating in the glass bowl. But now nothing, it's running clean. The tractor is running fantastic. So that's it. We will pronounce this one fit for duty. So there you have it. We got our little issues fixed up, and I've now declared it fit for service. We can take it out and move trailers, plow the field, drag houses down with it. Whatever it is we figure we need it to do. Anyway, want to thank you for tuning in, and I hope you enjoyed this video and maybe learned something. That thing with the valves was something I'd never experienced before, but hey, it is what it is. Anyway, hope you'll come back and check out some more of our videos in the future. And until then, this is Kevin checking out from the Claremont Classic Garage. Thanks and so long.